Hi, and I'm sorry I'm not there today, guys. I am actually in a different building, a couple different buildings today, so we're doing video notes instead. So if you'll break out the two half sheets of paper that are in your folder, you need to glue those on page, 38 and 39. I'm sorry, page 38 is going to be your homework from yesterday. So we're going to say 39 and 40 for your notes. If you come up to a consensus that you guys needed 2 pages for homework, then I haven't written it on our composition book yet, so I'll check in with you about that tomorrow when I return. So the substitute might have to pause here to give you a minute to glue those on the right pages, but everyone needs to have them on the same pages. Okay, so we're going to kind of briefly go over example B. This is from page 262, but you don't need to open your Springboard books. We're just going to do word problems today because we really need to be able to write the systems and solve them. And if we don't write them correctly, then no matter what we do with solving, we won't get the right answer. So Noah is given 2 beakers of saline solution in the chemistry class. One contains 3% saline solution, and the other contains 8% saline solution. How much of each type of solution will Noah need to mix to create 150 milliliters of a 5% solution? So always the first thing to do is to figure out your variables. We're going to say X is the number of milliliters of the 3% and Y is the number of milliliters of the 8%. So when we add those two together, we need to have 150 milliliters. Right? So milliliters plus milliliters equals milliliters. So there is my first equation. Now I'm going to talk about the percent of one and the percent of the other equals a percent of the total. So I know I have 150 milliliters altogether, and I want it to be 5% total. So percent total, or percent of the total, if that helps. So those are my 2 equations. Now, if you notice, the first couple, it just says to write a system. Write a system, and we don't have to solve it, so that's nice. Just the first few. So that was our example that's in our book. So let's do number 1 together. Sylvia wants to mix 100 pounds, that's important, of breakfast blend coffee that will sell for $25 per pound. Coffee. She is using 2 types of coffee to create the mixture. Kona coffee sells for $51 per pound, and Colombian coffee sells for $11 per pound. How many pounds of each type of coffee should Sylvia use? So if you notice, I have one equation that's probably going to be pounds, and another equation that's going to be in dollars, right? I've got 2, those are my 2 equations. So how many, how much? So how much is going to be the Kona coffee, we'll just say K is Kona coffee, plus the Colombian coffee, together, however many pounds of each, together is going to be 100 pounds. And then I've got the money. So it's $51 for the Kona coffee and $11 for the Colombian coffee, and together I need to make up some kind of mixture that's $25 per pound for my new kind of coffee. So that's my how many pounds and how much money, how much. So those are the 2 equations for that one. So I just have to write them. That's nice, huh? Number 2 says, okay, so number 2 was missing a sentence. I guess I just got excited and didn't finish. So substitute might need to pause there for a moment to give you a minute to write that last sentence because we can't even write the equations without it. So number 2 says, Mary had $25,000 to invest. Must be nice for Mary. She invested part of that amount at 3% interest and a different amount in the 5% interest for 1 year. How much was invested in each rate? So do you notice, like, I'm going to take that out and put this in one sentence in the middle. The amount she earned for both investments was an $1,100. How much was invested at each rate? Okay. So I've got the total amount of money. I've got an X amount of money and I got a Y amount of money. And together, Mary has $25,000. So I don't know how much money went into one account and how much money went into the other account, right? One went one way, one went the other way, and together, though, they added up to $25,000. So the one account, she had 5%, which we write as a decimal as 0.05. The other one at 0.03. Now, you could have switched these when you're writing it, and it's still right, okay? We just need to know which account's which. We don't care, the X and Y's aren't as important on this one because one is not dependent upon the other. So we have this interest, and together, those two together gave Mary $1,100 in just interest. So this was the amount of interest on one account, the amount of interest on the other account, and together, just her interest was $1,100. So now we could solve that. Okay, moving on. Number 3. I'm going to say this is Fong, has $2 in nickels and dimes in his bank. Remember I told you yesterday nickels and dimes? They always have ones with coins. It's just a very common thing. So we have nickels and we have dimes. I already know those are my 2 variables. The number of dimes is 5 more. Okay, the dimes is 5 more than twice the number of nickels. Okay, so there's one equation. Don't need that one. And then I have money, right? The other one's kind of hidden in there. So this is how many dimes versus nickels, but what I have over here is I have dimes are 5 cents. Oh, no, nickels are 5 cents. And dimes are 10 cents. And together they add up to $2. So there's 2 equations. I just need to have 2 equations. So one of them kind of walked me through. The other one was the money. How much, right? But I could totally solve that. And if you notice, it's really set up for substitution. Where my other ones, substitution or elimination, will both be equally easy. This one is much easier with substitution because it's already solved for D. Okay, now we're moving on to where I need to write and solve. Okay, both. So here we go. Tickets to Central's fall play cost $7 for adults and $5 for students. A group of friends purchased 20 tickets for $110. So if you notice, I have a how much already right there. So I know that $7 for an adult and $5 for a student equaled $110. So money plus money equals money. But then I know they purchased some number of adult tickets and some number of student tickets, and together that was 20 tickets. Okay, so now I need to solve this. How many did they buy? Now, could I do elimination? Absolutely. Could multiply the bottom one by either a -7 or the bottom one by -5, and you could eliminate your A's or your S's. This totally depends on you. Could also do substitution, because it's very easy to subtract one of those variables, right, and do a substitution. Everybody has their own feelings about which one is easier. You either like substitution better or you like elimination better. I like both. So let's just, because we've done elimination recently, let's go ahead and do substitution. So I'm going to go ahead and change this one to A equals 20 minus S. I just subtracted S from both sides. This one I'm not changing, but I'm going to substitute it in. So this is 7, and now everywhere there's an A, it's now a 20 minus S. Excuse me. In the top equation. Now I need to distribute. So 7 times 20 is 140, and this is -7s plus 5s equals 110. Now collect like terms. So -7, +5, that's -2s. And then I'm going to subtract 140 from both sides. So I have -2s equals, and this looks like -30, right? Divided by -2, -2. That gives me 15. So thinking students are 15. All right, so that's only half of it though. I now need to know how much adults are. So 15, oh, I'm going to use this one because way simpler. So A plus 15 equals 20. I don't think adults are going to be cheaper, because that, if I subtract 15 from both sides, adults are $5 and students are 15. That's weird. Okay, but we'll take it. So 20 minus 15. Okay, that's odd, but whatever. Maybe they don't get very many adults that come. So check step, 7 times 5, or maybe a few adults are taking a whole bunch of students to the play, right? That happens a lot. Moms and dads take a carload. That's probably what happened. Okay, so because we already know they're cheaper cost. I was thinking these were the costs at first. All right, so anyway, and then 5 for 15, and we're hoping that equals 110, so question mark. This is 35. 15 times 5 is 75. And wouldn't you know, it checks. So there were 15 students and 5 adults. That purchased tickets to the play, right? All right, one more. Number 5. The sum of two angles measures is 71 degrees. So that means I have two angles, right? So I'm not very good at drawing freehand, but let's say that was 71 degrees, but there's two of them in there, two angles. So this whole thing is 71, and I've got an X and a Y. So let's go ahead and write that. X plus Y equals 71. Okay, angle 2, which who knows which one that is 49 degrees smaller than 2 times angle 1. All right, we'll say angle 1 is X just because I wrote it first. So 2 times angle 1 minus 49 equals angle 2. Something like that. Okay, well this one's set up for substitution for sure. Oh man, I should have done elimination on the first one. Okay, so already set up. I'm going to plug this in for Y. So X plus 2X minus 49. There's my substitution step, equals 71. Parentheses aren't a big deal here because I have a plus sign out front, but I do need to combine like terms. So 3X minus 49. And I'm going to add 49 to both sides, which gives me 3X equals, let's see, 120. Is that right? I don't trust my brain today. Yes, okay. And then divide both sides by 3, and that gives me 40. So 40 should be one of the angles. I'm going to substitute up here. So 40 plus Y equals 71. That means 31. Okay, now my check step, right? So I have let me write check here. I didn't write check up here. I'm just going to write it real quick. Okay, so 2X, so we said X was 40, minus 49, hopefully equals 31. So this is 80 minus 49. Well, 80 minus 49 is 31. Checks. So the two angle measures, we have a 31 degrees and a 40 degree angle measures. Okay, so your homework is the worksheet that's in your folder. And just for funsies, I am offering 3 bonus points on your homework. 3 bonus points, that's a lot. If you want to solve questions 1, 2, and 3 from the equations that we just wrote, but we did not. I will take substitution on number 3, but I want you to do at least one of them has to be elimination to get the bonus points. Okay, and it's kind of an all or nothing deal. If you want to just do one, you don't necessarily get 1 bonus point. I want to see you guys solve these. So you can solve them now in class, and I'll have the answers up here for the sub, and at least you can know if you're on the right direction. But I will not have the homework answers with the sub. So you don't need to enter this on Schoology. The worksheets don't go on Schoology, and we will grade it in class tomorrow. All right, have a good rest of your day.